I know it's easy to sit here, or not easy to sit here, to say that this morning after the Yankees, hit 2 grand slams and just absolutely pummel the Pirates. But let's face it, they're beating who they're supposed to beat. It's all going to come down to the AL Championship versus the Houston Astros. That's what I believe. What I'm predicting, and I think that's what everybody else is thinking.
If both those teams don't make it to the ALCS, that is it's a huge disappointment for both franchises, without a doubt. They're clearly the best in the league, and that's what you expect, and that's what you want to see, and you want to see another ALCS like 17 and 19 between these two teams. Hopefully it goes 7 games and is as entertaining as we expect it to be.
And nobody's reading the pitches in the dugout, with an
right.
iPad.
Right. Yeah, no trash cans, no banging on anything, just a good old-fashioned baseball. And Hal Steinbrenner, basically said, that the Astros are the team you got to worry about, and I don't care about what happened in 2017. That's history. This is the team we got to focus on now. And he also used the word record contract. He expects a record contract to be given to Aaron Judge in order for him to stay. So things changed in a big way.
Yes.
With the way Aaron Judge has played, just like we expected.
All right, so what is record for what? Record for baseball or record for Yankees and position players for the Yankees?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know what that means. Is it the biggest contract in Major League Baseball history, that kind of record?
It could be.
Or is it the biggest contract in Yankee individual player history, not counting pitchers?
Yeah, Steinbrenner realizes it may take record price to keep Judge. And that was his quote. So I can't imagine it's going to be the biggest in Major League Baseball history.
So what record is he talking about then? Because they've already offered him the most money in the history of the Yankees for an everyday player.
Mm-hmm.
So that record's already been set.
Yep.
So is that what he's talking about? Again, there's not real clarity there. I don't know what that general statement means.
Yeah, I don't know either. But obviously it's a lot more money than they offered to him in the beginning of the year. That's for sure.
I will say that given what's going on in sports and the contracts that have been given out in the NBA, the NFL, and now Major League Baseball, the NHL still trailing, just simply because it's a hard cap sport, and they're only going up $1 million. And by the way, the NHL draft, if you care, is tonight in Montreal. And there are issues there too, especially with the Russian players and whether or not they're going to be drafting any Russian players due to what's going on over in Ukraine, because Putin is actually taking young Russian hockey players and putting them in uniform and sending them away and not making them available. And it's a weird, a little bit.
A little bit. Sports minute.
Yeah, there was one, yeah.
You guys smell that sports minute?
Yeah, there was one. But the point being is, the money is exorbitant. It is just absolutely blowing everybody away. So if Hal Steinbrenner is saying that, I have to believe that they're thinking it's going to be, it's going to be enormous.
Yeah, it has to be at this point. And also,
you got to pay him $40 million a year now. Is that what we're talking about? I can't see that.
$40 million for how many years, though? Because when we talk about the
8 years, $320 million.
When we talk about this contract, the thing that you talk about is his age. It's not really about the next 4 or 5 years. It's about the 8 or 9 years.
You know what's amazing to me, and I know it's because of the CBA and because the Major League Baseball players have agreed to it. I believe this is a part of it. When you play baseball, you have to play baseball in college for 3 years.
Yep.
And those 3 years have what is costing Aaron Judge. Because his arbitration clock got started late, and here we are at the age of 30. He should have signed a new contract 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have gone to this point.
Yeah,
but it's because
the system sucks for the players.
Well, it's amazing. Some college athletes are making more than a guy like Aaron Judge because of the archaic rule that he had to stay in college for 3 years.
Well, early on in his career, not this year with the $19 million, but yes, early on.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I'm like that rule, and the faster that the player. By the way, I'm all for going to college, and I'm all for playing baseball or whatever sport you can play in college. But if you have aspirations of being a professional baseball player and making the most money you possibly can, then you have to be kind of like Like some of the Dominican players. Look at all these young players at the age of 20 that are being offered 10-year deals, like Juan Soto.
Yeah, that's right. Turned it down.
And they turned it down. And the thing about it is those kids play with wooden bats earlier in their career. They're not with aluminum bats 3 years into college. Mm-hmm. And they get their clock started in Major League Baseball much earlier than Aaron Judge did. So that's the thing that it's not Aaron's fault, because I believe that he probably had a great time at Fresno State, and it's just a system, and the system sucks.
Yeah, for the player, it is very, very difficult. I mean, if you make that decision to play in college, it sets you back. And maybe Aaron Judge doesn't turn into the same player if he doesn't have that time in college, too. So,
I don't know, but
it's difficult.
Speaking to people that have been through this process, every single one of the people that I've spoken to don't dismiss their college time. They love their college time, just like I love my college time.
Right.
And I, at the end of my career, I played in the Citrus Bowl and separated my throwing shoulder in a meaningless bowl game. I probably, in today's world, I would have not played.
Yeah, you see a lot of that happening.
Right, exactly. So in the baseball world, most baseball people are telling me and have told me that if you want to get good early in your career, you got to have the wooden bat in your hand, and you got to go play with adults, and you got to go play with men. And you got to be in that arena. You got to be in that kind of environment, and you got to move up, kind of like what Alvarez is doing with the Mets right now.
That is correct.
So Alvarez is the guy that supposedly may save the Mets here. Who knows? He's a very confident guy. He's a catcher. He's an offensive powerhouse.
Well, he's the bat that hopefully is the bat that fixes some of the problems that the Mets have.
But here's a 20-year-old. Is my point.
Yeah.
And he didn't go to college. And he's had a wooden bat in his hand, I don't know for how long.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between potentially Alvarez becoming, and who knows if he will or not. Because I remember talking about Gary Sanchez this way. I remember talking about Aaron Judge about this. Remember when Judge was in the minors? And
absolutely.
Everybody was talking about, here comes the next great Yankee, here comes the next great Yankee. And they kept holding him back, and then they finally brought him up. And here he is at the age of 30, unfortunately, because of those 3 years in college. When this contract should have been signed 3 years ago, and it should have won for 10 years, and maybe it should have won for $340 to $380 million.
Yeah, well, that's what it's probably going to take now if he continues on this pace. Now, remember, Aaron Judge, in his history and in his career, there's not a lot of times where he plays the full complement of games or close to it. There still could be an IL stint here or something that holds him back, and it's never just him being out. It's also when he comes back, it takes him a while to rev the engines again.
Well, the amazing thing to me also, amazing, it's not amazing because he's such a great athlete, is that he's playing center field.
Yeah.
And he's 6'6" and he's running around in center field like it's nothing.
I mean, he's doing everything that the face of the Yankees should be doing.
Five-tool player.
And
he can play anywhere. And, Aaron Boone, we'll give him days off here or there, DH him here or there, which is smart. But the guy is having a tremendous season. And I think Hal Steinbrenner recognizes that it's going to take more money, especially if he continues on this torrid pace.
Well, I think everybody recognizes it now, and if Hal Steinbrenner didn't, he would look foolish when he was asked the questions yesterday. He was asked about Joey Gallo and adding a corner outfielder at the deadline, and he said it's been difficult for him, there's no doubt about it, but there's a lot of baseball left. I still expect great things from Joey Gallo. He had a home run last night.
You mean the pitcher hit his bat last night?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. It is, there's something wrong.
Well, yeah.
I mean, really, really wrong. There's something really wrong. I don't know what to tell you. It's just like, I think he swings with his eyes closed or something.
It's frustrating. It really is.
Frustrating.
I know he plays a good outfield, whatever. He's a good defensive player. They like him in the clubhouse, whatever, all these other things. I mean, he's a miserable offensive player.
Right. He's batting ninth. It doesn't really matter. They have enough players that, can carry the load, and maybe there'll be a 2-week stretch there where he hits 8 or 9 home runs. Who knows?
Yeah.
I think that's what they're hoping for, or maybe they catch lightning in a bottle in the playoffs. I can't imagine that with his bat versus, lefties or anything, that he would be starting in playoff games. I just can't imagine if things continue to go the way they're going.
You can't. I mean, especially with the history of the Yankees in the postseason and the bats going cold. I mean, you just cannot have him in that lineup. You can't, because it's just against the better pitching. I mean, just think about him getting mowed down in an Astros ALCS every time he steps into the box.
It would be maddening. It would be maddening. And the other thing, too, is that, this is the one nitpick that you have, really.
Yeah,
with the Yankees. It's a one nitpick. Everybody else is, when you have, 52 wins? Or what?
No,
59 wins.
More than that.
Wins.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 59 wins. I'm thinking of the Mets. When you have 59 wins, I mean, what are we going to nitpick about?
It's Gallo, and that's essentially it. There's nobody in the rotation that you're really all that upset with. I mean,
I don't know.
You got to add a bullpen arm just like everybody else who's in contention.
It will be about whether or not this team is built to beat the Houston Astros and then ultimately beat either the Dodgers, the Mets, the Padres, maybe I don't know, Milwaukee Brewers, depending on what they all do at the trade deadline. Who are they going to beat in the World Series?
Yeah,
I mean, because let's face it, you are in the midst of a historic season here. Anything less than finishing it off with a World Series is going to be really, really disappointing for Yankee fans.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just like it is every year.
I'm not saying that to be an ass. I'm saying that because that's the absolute God's honest truth.
Well, I mean, that's their goal every year.
Right, but enjoy the journey this year that they when I think about where we were in spring training and everybody's screaming about Brian Cashman and how he sucks and he didn't go get this guy, didn't go get that guy. Maybe Isaiah Kiner-Falefa has not been as great defensively as you expected. Maybe he's a little bit more offensive, but I don't know. I look at this and I'm like, he built this team. They got 59 wins. They have a 14-game lead in their division, and they're the odds-on favorite to go to the World Series for the American League. So what else? What did he do wrong?
Well, if you end up losing to the Astros again, what does it all mean? That's the problem.
But isn't that more the Astros players? Isn't that like the Altuves of the world, the Springers of the world, the Alvarezes of the world?
But you just said it. If
Verlander, I mean,
anything less than a championship would be a huge disappointment for Yankee fans. I mean, so if they don't get through Houston, it's a huge disappointment.
They have what's it? Yordan Alvarez.
Yep, Yordan Alvarez.
You're right, Yordan. So the Yankees have Aaron Judge. They have Verlander. The Yankees have Garrett Cole. I mean, they have Altuve. The Yankees have, DJ LeMahieu.
Well, you sound just like Hal Steinbrenner said. We all need to be concerned about Houston. They're a very good team, but it's going to be a challenge for them too. Make no mistake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. But I also know that Houston right now, as we sit here, even though the Yankees have 59 wins and they beat up on the Bucks last night, Houston's the best team. They've shown it. They showed it over the last month.
Yep, the Buccos.
So, by the way, the Braves are right there with them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the way, what are they, 26-4 in their last 30 or something?
And they're going for the sweep against the Cardinals now. They won last night behind Max Fried 3-0.
I know. We were looking ahead to the Braves schedule. We were happy to see the Cardinals on that schedule. It hasn't really worked out that way.
No, it has not.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cardinals, they're always competitive. I feel like they're the National League version of the Yankees. They're always competitive.
Mm-hmm. Always in the mix.
Not in this series.
No. All right, Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network. Just getting started. Jerry Recco joins us in a couple of minutes with his update.